Not much from my agenda, but I do want to say, just to remind everybody, I'm trying to let this kind of grow organically. So I have not been actively trying to recruit people to come present. So today we have 4 presenters. Anybody who wants to present, this is an open forum. So send me an email, and it's as simple as that, and I'll send you an email back saying, hey, great, you're on the list, and it's kind of first come, first serve. I'm hoping that I don't have to start kind of going out and trying to pull people in. I prefer that this not just be a bunch of just product demos, one after another. So ideas, pitches, presentations, you got a business plan, you want to present it and get some feedback on. It's really meant to be really open and to leverage the people in this community as a way of getting feedback. But if I have to start kind of pulling from the community, we'll do that as well. But my goal is to get 6. Today we have 4. First up we have Joe from Metafy, who's going to present. After that we have Alec, who's kind of on the on-deck circle down below. After that we've got David, who is in the back. And then last up we have Gene, who's actually sitting right over here. So David's the only one kind of floating off to the background. Presentation style is pretty simple. It's 5 minutes, and then we've got 5 minutes to ask questions. You're up.
All right, so Anthracite. This whole demo came about because of something that Judd showed at the last meetup, which was his mashup where he took Boulder deed information, combined it with Google Maps, and let you look at where the deeds or where the properties that are undergoing transactions are on a map. Pretty straightforward. But one of the comments he made during his presentation was how much the screen scraping portion of it is a hassle. And I heard someone else talking about this earlier too, that right now when you want to do mashups like this, you generally need a programmer, someone who's able to use Perl or another scripting language or a higher or lower level language to go in and write some of the stuff yourself. Well, this presented itself as a problem a couple years back, and hence the concept for this product was born, the company and the product was born. I'm Joe Pezzillo. I've been in Boulder about 20 years. Back in the 90s, I used to work for Scott Converse at the Apple Lab. I started one of the first internetradio.coms in the 90s here in Boulder, Go Gaga. Went to work for another internet radio company out in California where this idea was born. And now I'm doing this, and I'm happy to present it today. I've got customers on 4 continents, been in the market for about 2 years. And don't want to focus too much on the presentation or whatever. I want to be able to show you some of the demos.
Can you talk a little faster?
I could talk to Background in radio is incredibly helpful when you're on a 5-minute demo, that's what I'll say. I'm not going to be able to cover everything, but I do want to give you the general idea that what we've got here is a visual environment for people to be able to construct spidering and scraping type bot tools. We'll take a look here at the daily camera deeds one, which again was part of the reason for doing this. And you can see what we can do is we can load, the icons represent different types of actions, loading a web page, parsing out things like HTML tables on there, formatting it into reports, writing out files. So with that in mind, and again, not being able to cover everything in 5 minutes, let's run this one, the daily camera deeds one. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the page here, which I'll open up so you can see what we're looking at as the source. Background. We'll go off and load. Now we're going to get the results first. These are the results. So the original page here is a daily camera page that is pretty ugly, as it were. They take data, I think Judd was saying, they get it from a source in Denver and slap it up in this pretty straightforward text format. We are then going in, pulling out the contents from this page. Probably should have preloaded all these pages for more excitement, less excitement. These are the current deeds from this week, and you'll see they're just kind of thrown up here in a text format, etc. So that's what this parser does. It goes through, reads through all of those deeds that have been posted, and then writes it out into a format that is compatible with, which it's RSS format, in fact. So when we go look at Boulder County deeds now, we see we've got 51 of these deeds scraped off that page. You see that we've done a little bit of formatting to show you the city, the street address, the amount, seller, buyer, and so on. And this, hopefully, for people like Judd, makes the process of scraping this information and putting it into your mashup that much easier. But wait, there's more. So to make it a little more interesting than just looking at an RSS feed, which might be interesting, a couple of other things you can do. So we can go in and we can scrape the history out of my browsing experience. So here we're going in and we're loading all of the pages that I've browsed this morning and today. I'll also admit that I spent a little time across the street at the coffee shop trying to load some interesting pages. And again, not wanting to wait for the whole thing to load, we're going to go through and load 40 or 50 files here. Here's some examples of what it looks like on the outside. So we go and we look at, the output of this is a tag cloud. You might have heard of these tag clouds. So in this case, the larger the word, the more it's represented in the keywords of the pages that I was looking at. These are all of the keywords, and you'll see the big ones jump out there. The reason that the camera ones jump out is because I went to Flickr. For a few pages. Here are the terms. Here are the pages that they were loaded from. And it's all done in Anthracite in this case, it's going to take a few. We're still waiting for one page to load over here out of 33. Another application that one of the customers has come up with converts related tags on Delicious into force-directed graph showing you how the terms relate. So I'm going to pick a term like Boulder. We're going to go through here and load. It's going pretty fast. Now we just finished the other one. We're going to load our. Let's make some of these go away here. It's just icons. Everyone's seen icons. We're going to go through, load the pages from Delicious. You can actually see some of those are loading in the background there. And then what we end up with is, again, this directed graph where he's gone through, used Anthracite to create a dot file, which is then imported into OmniGraffle, another Mac program here. And it automatically lays out the term Boulder with the related terms. So interestingly, we find things like marketing, jewels, heart, listen. I like some of this, Boulder free. And one of the things that's really beautiful about OmniGraffle is the way it automates or animates the creation of some of these, but unfortunately that takes about a minute. So I decided not to include it in this, although it may decide it's going to run in the background anyway. And that's really all I wanted to show. The whole idea behind this came because Judd had made this comment that, I forgot to ask for permission from the demo guys to show you this. And I learned this from Oliver McBrien. He used to run the Supercomputer Center at CU, and he says, what I'm going to show you is state of the art. And the first thing you have to know about the state of the art is that it doesn't always work. And so if what I show you doesn't work, you'll know you're seeing the state of the art. It was a great demo he gave, and of course it's always served well to be able to do that. So I'd be happy to answer questions. There really isn't too much more to show necessarily. It's a scraping toolkit that allows people to create output like this in a variety of different formats. It's a glue that brings data from sources like the SEC and other large repositories of information on the web into a much more manageable form like RSS delivered to your desktop. I think that's got to be 5 minutes.
Perfect. How much is it?
It's currently $99. It's a Mac desktop application. Ideally was going to be positioned for Mac developers who were used to building websites, had some HTML background, didn't know how to do JavaScript or any other sort of programming languages, and yet wanted to be able to do sort of Web 2.0, next generation websites that were data driven, and here was a tool that allows them to do it. In the end, it's actually being used a lot by financial analysts. A lot of the customers end up also doing consulting projects where we build them a system that gives them some control, but there's still a lot of Mac users who love using it for a variety of reasons, largely because of the icons, I think. So.
Any questions?
Questions, please. Take a look at one of these.
How long has it, you said it's been out? A couple of years? Or?
The product's been in the market for a couple of years, yeah.
And is it a business, or is it just something you do on the side? Or?
Well, I have a son now, so I do my son as my primary activity, and this has become a side project. But yeah, it's definitely it's intended to be a business. So,
Excellent.
questions about screen scraping, anything like that? People usually ask, is screen scraping legal? I think that came up with the last one.
I thought it was interesting you were going at least one source removed from the original.
In the case of
In
the
the case
daily
you're showing
camera.
daily camera, you weren't scraping from where their data source was.
And I think that what I heard last time from Judd was that they get the data in probably a much more structured format and reduce it to that text layout for the web page.
That's right, yeah, that feed is not public.
Yeah, so your access to some of that data is limited to the publicly available plain text format in that case.
So where do you want to take it?
Well, right now, it's been interesting to try and sort of serve a variety of different types of application areas, but there are a few of them that have emerged as the highest value ones, and those are the ones I'm concentrating on, and I'd be glad to look at doing it more as a service business around some of those things. For example, selling feeds, selling the data after it's been prepared, as opposed to just selling the toolkit. It's a toolkit. It's like buying a toolbox that lets you build a house. Most people want to buy a house. So that's where I would say I'm trying to sell more houses as opposed to more toolboxes. So.
Is it compatible with all platforms? Is it just Apple, or is it?
The desktop environment for designing the scraper is a Mac product, but the data is data. So it goes out to my, for example, some of the things I didn't get to show are the MySQL interface that puts all this data into a database. There's a
But
whole.
you would have to have an Apple to use it, though. Is that?
To design the scraper, you have to. It runs on a Mac, yeah. But the data, it's fully cross-platform,
All right.
fully Unicode compatible. Thank you.